Maybe that's why they've all been shit, but I don't know, bro.
You buy every quarterback jersey?
Okay, so in the last 10 years, I bought Urlacher was my first. That was a Stitch. That's my prize. That's my crown jewel of jerseys.
Yeah.
I went with Khalil Mack.
Mm-hmm.
When he got traded, I was a huge fan of his before he got traded to Chicago. And I'm like, oh, it's about to be serious. Then I fell for the Trubisky trap. I think that was half of the reason why I was delusional too, is because I already invested in the jersey, and I'm like, all right, I have to be all in now, you know. And then the Justin Fields one was a birthday present, so yeah.
You definitely on a hot streak with buying quarterback jerseys.
Oh yeah, the hottest.
I didn't buy a Trubisky. I didn't buy a Justin. I almost bought a Justin. If Justin would have been the quarterback this season, I probably would have just went ahead and bought it.
Okay.
But I knew we were gonna be heading to get. Well, I didn't think he was gonna be number 18. I didn't know what number. It's kind of interesting that he picked number 18.
Yeah, I don't know if he did it because of Peyton Manning or if he did it for any other reason. I know he was 13 in college, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why he didn't keep with the 13. I don't know why he didn't, but oh well. Hey, we are live, by the way. We having this conversation. I didn't even.
That's okay. I saw it come up, and I'm like, all right.
Oh man. Welcome to another edition of the best. I'm gonna say the wrong one. Bears Weekly with Jay and David. We missed last week. You know, I was under the weather a little bit. Had a long birthday weekend, and David is wedding planning. That's a whole nother damn thing in itself.
Yeah, a couple more weeks, and then we can fully commit to the podcast. I'm sure
you're gonna be joining my side. You're gonna be a married man.
Yes, sir. This won't be the only ring.
Get started. Look at you with the Cubs ring. Before you get, and man, the baseball playoffs been lit so far. Oh my God, I'm so jealous.
Been spectacular. I really wish the Cubs could have snuck in there. But...
I'm so jealous. But before we get started, I got one video I want to start. I want to play real quick. Get your thoughts on it. Let's see. Wrong one. There we go. This play, right?
Safeties are back deep. Snap to Caleb Williams. Good protection. Lines it up for DJ Moore.
Oh my God. Hey, I jumped on the bed. I will.
Oh, look at that go! Second connection. DJ Moore and the Bears are.
Man, what's up, dude? Look at the excitement on Caleb, man. I love this so much. Like, look at this. That's the excitement.
It is so. There is such a stark difference between this energy and the energy that we've previously had, where it's like a complete robot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will be the first to say I love Justin Fields. I got him right back here. I still have the jersey. All love. I'm rooting for Pittsburgh. But my biggest complaint of his wasn't even on the field. It was his body language 24/7.
Yeah, like it was
excitement. The most excitement was him sliding during the monsoon game against the Niners. That was the most animation.
That was so long. That was his first start, wasn't it?
And it was just good or bad. This guy could have ran in for 2 touchdowns, 90 rushing yards. We did it. And I'm like, bro, Caleb he feels like a fan on the field. And
he loves the play.
I love it.
I'm not, and I want to turn. It's like I feel like all season is going to be Caleb versus a Justin thing or Caleb versus a Jaden Daniels. But it's like, it's not like we're not trying to say Justin don't like football, but Caleb you could just tell he loves ball, man. Just like this is why Caleb was the first pick, man. Like on that play, and for those who's not watching, only gonna be listening, that was the second pass you heard to DJ Moore. In that play, if you haven't already, go back and look, man. He looked off the safety.
Yep.
The safety was like on the hash. He looked them off all the way down on the other side on the numbers on the other side of the hash. Then he threw it. That is why and the way he placed the ball, like either he's gonna catch it, drop it, or go out of bounds. It wasn't gonna be intercepted or nothing. Like the way the is high level football. Staying off the damn safety, that's high level football. This is game 5. He's making audibles at the line of scrimmage. This is game 5.
Yeah, there are guys.
This is why he was picked number 1.
There are some people in year 5 who have not learned to make these sort of adjustments.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's just that was the most unique way I've seen it, because it's like in real time I'm not paying attention to that, but then when I look back on Twitter and I'm seeing it in slow-mo and I'm seeing them kind of just I mean, that is just such a special trait to have. I think it's those little nuances that can separate him from the Jaden Daniels, eventually the Drake Mays, you know, even other sophomore quarterbacks, you know. I'm very excited because it's like this trend keeps going up and it has to plateau eventually. It has to plateau. I can't. I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to keep my. I think it'll have to, you know, this is the part of the season where he should be doing this, right? This is the part of the season where it's like we kind of expected the rough beginning. It's going to be a rougher part later in the season, I still believe. I mean, this is the time though where it's encouraging to see him do what we were hoping for.
Absolutely. And the thing I love the most is, even though yesterday it was a great game, he had played a really good game. And I was saying that somebody needs to break out. I know it's the Panthers. I know that, you know, listen, but this is how you take the next step. When you play a team like the Panthers, you're supposed to beat their skull in 36-10. We shouldn't be getting in the fourth quarter where we have to battle the Panthers. That's how you lose games.
Yeah.
When you got to battle a team like this who already got injuries, and then they already by halftime they were done. Like it's over with for them. So it's like just seeing that was just like, man, we have a football team. Like Caleb is legit, and it was still things he could improve on. That's how you know the man. What he threw for like 304, 2 touchdowns. He didn't even throw 30 times, and look what he did, and he's only really scratching the surface. If you think about it, it was stuff he still missed. It was stuff like, man, that should have been picked. Stuff he can do better here, but it's only game 5. But the improvement we've seen from week 1 to week 5 is absolutely insane. The game has slowed down for him.
Absolutely.
The touch he has on his passes, it's just everything. He's not trying to zip everything in. He's looking off defenders and shit. Like, and he still has a lot of places to improve, and that's why I'm so excited, because it's not like he was just doing like he just got lucky. Man, he was doing some phenomenal thing, and this is still an NFL team, regardless how you look at it. People will still like, this is not the same Panthers team because of Andy Dalton. They weren't. But if you're a team like this with the Bears, ladies and gentlemen, we have an elite defense. Like we're used to it, but this unit is elite. And then this offense is only going to get better, because now I'm gonna throw it to you. It's like now they got like a balance. Like you got to run the ball. I don't care who you are. You got to run the ball. You got to make the defense beat. The defense has to know what they have to know, like you're going to be running or throwing it. If you're going to throw the ball 52 times and you run the ball 15, come on now.
Yeah, you're not going to find much success whatsoever.
So, I mean, my question to you is, how did you feel about like Caleb's play in the overall play calling yesterday?
So in regards to the play calling, I'm glad you brought that up. One thing I wanted to mention last week, and I will still carry that on over to week 5 because of what I saw. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know, the first 4 weeks, Bears fans, well, I'd say the first 3, Bears fans have been coming for Shane Waldron's throat, myself included. I think both of us on this podcast were like, okay, Waldron, you are a bit much. And you know what? I'll say this. I know the whole JSN Seattle thing kind of was a big red flag.
It was.
But one thing that I'll say is that I think Bears fans are just so quick to cut the strings from any OC that is not giving us that instant gratification because of the trauma that we've had, right?
Absolutely.
We've got trust issues as a fan base.
We got trust issues.
So I think I'm going to extend the leash to Shane Waldron. I said at the beginning of the season, I'm going to give Caleb 8 games. He's already shown me what he's needed to show me. I'm content. I want to keep seeing the growth, but he has shown me that he's able to adjust. He is not going to be making the same errors every single game.
Absolutely.
Same with Shane Waldron. He has shown me week 4 and now week 5 that he's able to adjust a little bit. The beginning of week 4 against the Rams, it was looking a little suspicious. Then second half, he cleans it up a little bit. I think that he demonstrated against a lesser defense, but still showed better play calling this time around.
Yes.
The switch to DeAndre Swift, like you said, being able to effectively run the ball, even if you're able to just check it down to him, I think that alone just establishes, hey, you cannot be playing back as a defense. You cannot be just playing the middle as a defense. You have to check the flats too. And he's definitely putting this team together. I think him and Caleb are getting on the same page. I'm excited to see what that turns into. In regards to Caleb specifically, going back to your question, I thought he has done a great job of protecting the ball. There was a couple scramble plays, and I tweeted out, I'm like, man, as exciting as these plays are, or as scary as they are, they also keep me alive. It makes my heart race every time. Because I'm like, I'm so used to fumbles and dumb interceptions. He's getting away with it. I'm a little concerned still, but hey, as long as he keeps doing it, it's wonderful. The decision making is really a huge part that is standing out to me.
I'm glad you said that, because the scrambling part, and one thing he does, and Justin did the same thing, but Justin's a hell of a more athlete than Caleb. The running backward shit, like, you can't. This is not college. Like, you're not gonna outrun D tackles. Like, this is never gonna get it done. Like, yeah, he got around some guys in Carolina, but when you go going against elite defense, that shit ain't gonna work. And then listen, don't play with it. Either you're gonna get out of bounds or you're not. Like the one towards in the red zone when he ran towards the pylon. Listen, get your ass out.
Yeah.
Or you can't be taking hits like that. Like, he got up, and it didn't hurt her. It looked worse than what it really was. We saw a replay, but still, you can't be taking hits like that, especially when you got an O-line by committee that you have going on. But another thing I see what Caleb is, he is moving around not to run. He will run if he needs to, but he's scrambling and he's keeping his eyes down the field. You know what I'm saying? Like, the biggest thing we see with quarterbacks around the league, and even just in Chicago with our own quarterbacks, they scramble and they are not looking. They are scrambling to get the hell out of Dodge. They're not looking down the field.
Yeah.
Guys be running open, everything, and we just don't see them. But now, I just feel like we have an NFL quarterback. Not saying the other guys weren't NFL quarterback. What I mean by NFL quarterback is, like, we see it with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson running and all that got him MVPs. But what's going to get you Super Bowls is being able to make throws. And Lamar Jackson can make throws now. Like, the scramble, the quote-unquote player of the year now was kind of his fault because he missed the snap. But he ran around and he high-point the ball. That's what the type of shit sometimes you got to do that type of shit. And if you're just a quarterback that's going to scramble on something like that and not look down the field, it's going to be hard to win big in the playoff in a Super Bowl, because sometimes you got to make throws like that. And that's how I feel about Caleb. And that's the difference between Caleb and Jaden Daniels. Well, he's still committed. I still out on him because he's a rookie, but Justin is like, Caleb can make big throws. He has touch. We saw it on the drop from Rome. Well, I think that was against Indy when Rome dropped that ball. We saw the touch there. We saw the touch with the 2 touchdown passes to DJ Moore. You just see he don't have to, when you looking off defenders and the plays are designed right, and the receivers are running like they're supposed to. You ain't got to zip it in. We know he got a live arm. Caleb had a live arm, but when you have space, you just have to put the nice little touch, and hopefully you're a playmaker to the rest. And DJ Moore did. Like, that's, you know how many receivers go out of bounds on that first touchdown?
Yeah.
Wasn't that crazy? Like,
the body control was nuts.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just the biggest thing too when you look at Caleb, and I'm glad you mentioned his throwing power. It's felt like game 1 and 2 he was trying to showcase that a bit more. Where it looked like every pass coming out was a bullet pass. And it's like, I know it's the NFL and there's emotions running high, but at the same time too, it's like the touch is extremely important. That touch to Odunze, even though it wasn't a touchdown, very important. That touch that he had to that DJ Moore, that second touchdown too, was massive because it felt like a good balance of power but accuracy as well. And so I'm glad it feels like he's kind of tweaking those ratios of power and accuracy, because he could be a Josh Allen and chuck that.
He could,
as far as he could, but it's like, I don't know. He just is deciding there's a time and place, and he's figuring out that time and place.
That's the. I'm glad you said it, because that's like slowing down now, because he's understanding, like, I don't have to hard this time, and people don't realize how important it is to look off safeties, because when you look off a corner, a linebacker, or a safety, that just make your window even wider. And that's the problem with guys who got big arms. They think they can always spit it into the window. That's how you start getting the 15 interceptions, the 18, because you think because your arm is so strong, you can always get it in. It don't always work out the way. You have to look off and do things. So I'm just glad. And I'm just glad to see this coaching staff like they had that meeting. We wasn't here last. They had that meeting before the Rams game, and I like hearing shit like that. Like, listen here, man, we gotta change some shit up. Like, we can't be throwing the ball like this, and we can't be doing that. We gotta have balance. And I mean, you know what? Speaking of the running game, I just thought about this looking at the stats earlier. Is Khalil Herbert just out of the rotation now?
The way I have seen it, I believe he is returning punts. From what I saw,
I've seen that.
I think it's a mix of him and DeAndre Carter returning punts. I'm okay with that, to be honest with you. I don't think Khalil Herbert's going to be much of a game changer unless you're trying to give a guy some rest.
Yeah.
I think truly it's got to be DeAndre Swift. He is I don't want to say a bell cow because our run game isn't that efficient, but I feel he should be getting majority of the snaps at this point with Roschon Johnson. Roschon Johnson he's kind of bullied his way past Khalil Herbert in the depth chart.
Yes.
He is our power back. I mean, even that goal line play where I thought Kramer was going to be getting the ball again, just trying to shove the big guy in there. Roschon's like, nah, give me the ball. I'll play like a big guy. He plays like he hates the world, and I love it. I truly think that he is a difference maker with a lot of tenacity.
One thing
I think that's why Khalil Herbert's not there anymore.
No, I'm with you on that. Does he block better than Herbert too?
He does. He is a good blocker. I think that's why he's seeing the initial snaps, and then with him being a more aggressive runner, I think it's just a recipe for success that the coaches can't deny.
Yeah, like if you can block, especially with the O-line they have, like if you can block as a running back, oh God, that's big for you to get more touches.
Set on third down.
Yeah, because I'm looking now. Yeah, Herbert didn't even have a rushing attempt yesterday. Yeah. That's crazy. And they're letting you be known. And the one thing I did like, they are putting Swift on the edges more, where now if you do want to run Swift up the middle, you can, because they're having so much success on the outside where they're lining up wider. So now the middle is just open some more where Swift can go up the middle and do things. Like, I'm looking now, Swift ran the ball 21 times to 73 yards. He only averaged 4 yards a carry, a little less than that. But 21 carries by him, and then you got 10 by Roschon, and 5 by Caleb. I take that.
Yeah. And it's
like 35 rushing too.
So what? It's the all-purpose yards too for him.
Yes.
Because the rushing is only half the story. The fact that we were clamoring for the Bears to throw the ball his way, and now they're starting to do it. And now teams have to respect that. It's going to open up more for Cole Kmet. It's going to open up more for DJ Moore, Odunze. I mean, and not to mention, I feel like Keenan Allen's been back, but we haven't really even gotten to appreciate
we haven't
being there.
I'm hearing that his heel is still on fire. Like his heel, he's getting better, but his heel is still, and I'm glad you brought up Keenan Allen and you said Cole Kmet's name. Caleb was 20 for 29, and I was wondering how the targets were. So DJ Moore is the number one receiver, like hands down. So
yeah,
he had 8 targets. Cole Kmet had 4, Swift had 2, Rome had 6, Keenan had 6, and Everett had 2. That's pretty balanced because he has to throw the ball around, and I feel like 8 targets to DJ Moore where he got 5 catches. I think that's out of 29 passes, that's a good healthy amount to your number one receiver, especially when they didn't even play a lot in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, yeah.
So I like the balance.
No, you're good. What did you think about the tempo the Bears started with in this game. It felt like, we usually kind of start off a little bit slower. We're, trying to establish the run. And it felt like this time around, they're like, no, we're going to be throwing it. We're going to be starting more aggressive. Did you think that is something they'd be able to do against more teams, or is it just because they were facing Carolina?
I feel like you should game plan week by week. And then once you get to that point where you get to the level like a Chiefs team, or just like some of the dominant teams, like sometimes you get to be so dominant to the point where I can do the same thing every week with some tweaks. You can't stop us type thing. I don't think the Bears are there yet, but I do like coming out aggressive. That whole run, pass shit, that shit is boring. Like sometimes you can come out, run the ball right away. Sometimes you pass the ball, but just run, pass, 3 and out on the first drive. You can't be doing that. Like you can't. And they're gonna keep tweaking it, and I believe so. I'm just glad. I just want to see Caleb and Waldron keep improving and keep working together. And I do like to see, like, I feel like Caleb and DJ Moore don't have the. I don't know if it was like it wasn't a beef, but it wasn't connecting. Like now, I feel like whatever that celebration was in that video earlier, that clip was more so like we score, but I feel like we're clicking now. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it felt like. So it's just, I just want to keep seeing them improving, man. Like, do you know the one thing I hate about this? Because we can fuck around and be 4-2 going into the bye. The thing I hate about this is that I still want Flus fired.
There's certainly a limited ceiling with Matt Eberflus. I don't see him being our Super Bowl coach if Caleb is to ever take us there.
No.
There's something that tells me that, I don't know. I mean, what's the threshold for him getting fired? Is it us having the same record as last year? Is it missing the playoffs? I mean, I don't know what Ryan Pohl's logic is going to be. Like, what is his criteria for being like, okay, we need to move to a different direction? Because now resetting with the coach, it's like, okay, what are the expectations for next year too? And I mean, the final record is going to be indicative of what happens to him ultimately. But I mean, if the Bears finish with 9 or 10 wins, is he really on the hot seat for that? It's really challenging to.
It's going to be really challenging because I think about Lovey. Lovey got fired with 10 wins. He was 10-6 that year. They missed the playoffs and he got fired, but I just don't know because this is Ryan Pohl's guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is his guy. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I know this is a whole different regime. This is not McCaskey's making decisions. You got Poles. You got what's his name? Is it Kevin Warren?
Kevin Warren, yeah.
Yeah, the Kevin Warren. President now is like, they got football people and they're making football decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But are they going to still, because you're going to have to pay him and hire somebody else. But the problem is there now, if you go get another coach, do you have to bring a whole nother staff in? Is it going to be another OC? Is it going to be another defensive coordinator? Is it going to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So it's just so much. Like we're in a tough spot where, like, don't get me wrong, Flus can improve, but the stuff that I feel like Flus hasn't improved on, we're still seeing the same shit we saw his first year as a coach.
Yeah.
Like when you're a head coach, like we said before, you delegate you manage stuff. You're not really calling plays like that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So it's like you're delegating things. You're staying on top of the time. You're making sure. So I feel like we really wasn't gonna see it yesterday because they went up 28-7 or 26-7 so fast. So you wasn't gonna have to see too much of no game management or doing this here and there. But I feel like that's one thing that scares me. We've seen him in close games do stuff where it's like, wow, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I will say this. The one part where I'm a little more lenient on Matt Eberflus is the fact that he's surrounded by his guys, right? Shane Waldron, Matt Eberflus loves him. Ryan Poles clearly liked him enough to hire him. Chris Morgan, offensive line coach, and then Eric Washington, our defensive coordinator. Because I was thinking about this yesterday. And I'm like, I was talking with some guys in Discord, and I'm like, I really don't know much about the Bears DC, and to be honest with you, I totally forgot his name. I just feel
Yes.
like he gets no love whatsoever.
Zero
Manny
love.
gets all the credit. So I did some researching as a fan, and I was like, okay, what's Eric Washington known for? He came from the Bills system the last few years, and he was a defensive line coach. What is the one area of our defense that has surpassed expectations so far this year? The defensive line. So he, in my book, gets a lot more credit than what Eberflus has done so far, because Eberflus is doing a good job, don't get me wrong, of kind of just coordinating the whole defense. But I would not be surprised if, a few weeks from now, Eric Washington isn't getting more love because of this defensive line. Billings looks nice. Darrell Taylor looked good to start the year. The guys just seem to be, Javon Dexter. They're just kind of figuring it out, and I love that. Chris Morgan, he deserves a bit of praise these last few weeks. Granted, you had the Rams, who had an injured D-line. You faced the Panthers, who, let's face it, their D-line's not really existent anyway. But I think the addition of Matt Pryor to this offensive line, even though his PFF grades don't look that great, I still think he's the type of personnel that complements these other guys. And ultimately, we're finding a little bit more success. Now, granted, I want to see this against the better pass rushing teams. We may not see that for a couple weeks with Jacksonville on the horizon, Patriots on the horizon, I believe.
I will say this, though. Jacksonville has a decent pass rush. I will give them that. They are terrible. They are a terrible football team.
Yeah. I mean, Josh Allen's going to be tough. And then you've got, Travon Walker.
Yeah.
So they're definitely going to be a bit more of a challenge. But yeah, I think Chris Morgan deserves a little bit of credit, because I know I was coming for his throat earlier this year. Again, the trust issues. And then Shane Waldron, like we talked about earlier, I just think, let's give it 2/3 of the season before we really put out the final verdict on him.
No, I'm with you on that. Like, you gotta let people. You have to let people grow. We're seeing it in this day and age. Like, when it's come to sports, man, you can't grow as a coach. You can't grow as a player, a person. Like, you can't. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, think about. I was seeing. I forgot what ex-quarterback it was. He was saying that at that time, Bo Nix was playing better than Jaden Daniels and Caleb. It was like after week 3, like, and I get it. I know how the media is now. Like, media is just, you got to figure out storylines, but it's like, you got to let people grow, man. Like, somebody yesterday was like, you got to put Jaden Daniels is definitely the offensive rookie of the year, and now you definitely have to put him in the MVP talks. I'm like, slow your roll, pump your brakes. He is the real deal, but pump your brakes.
Yeah.
It's like, it's still week 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, Caleb has played phenomenal last 3 weeks, 2 weeks for sure. I'm not MVP or offensive rookie of the year. Like, we got a long ways to go. Honestly, I can't wait for that Bears Commanders game. That's in 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah, that one's going to hit a little different. It really will.
Like, now, at first it wasn't, but now it definitely is. Like, we got to go out there and bust that ass. But before we finish up on this game this week, the only bad thing I didn't like that Roschon Johnson did was on that 4th down. Look, the O-line had all the push, and I just wanted Roschon, I figure he will work on this, is just make his decisions a little bit faster. Like, he had a hole to the left, but the fact that you didn't make a decision fast enough, and I know the linebacker met him, but you still got to be able to get that. It's a yard. That's why you're in there.
Yeah. And I mean, that could be a reason why he's not getting more playing time.
Yeah.
I think if he was able to identify that, he'd be splitting into that workload a little bit more. But, obviously stuff he could polish up on the next few weeks here. Maybe we're looking at something different by the end of the year. Who knows?
No, absolutely. Like, just the fact that we've seen the offense look so much different since the Colts game.
Yeah.
We look better against the Rams. We look so much better. Like, the Bears having 36 points and Caleb didn't even play all the 4th quarter is crazy. I don't give a fuck if it is the Panthers or not. Like, how many? It's only right now in the NFL is only a few teams, maybe one team that you can say that they can beat every team in the NFL any given Sunday.
Yeah.
I think is it still the Chiefs? Still, like it's the Chiefs and everybody. Like they can beat anybody every week. We can't say that about the Bears. So I know it was all saying this should beat the Panthers, but I don't think none of us thought it was going to be 36-10.
I mean, yeah, it's just when you look at the Bears versus the Panthers, we're so used to seeing that game and being like, oh, it's going to be, it's going to be within one score.
Mm-hmm.
Bears are going to have to battle a little bit. No, they went in there and they took care of business. And that's new for us. That's new for us. We're not used to that.
We're not used to seeing plays like the first touchdown to DJ Moore. We're not used to seeing passes that the second touchdown pass to DJ Moore. We're not used to seeing shit like that. We're not used to Caleb. We're not used to just seeing our quarterback recognizing something so fast and getting it out to a receiver, to his playmaker. We're not used to seeing shit like this. We're not used to seeing them going down the field and trying to get points before the half. Or speaking of that, do you think Caleb meant to throw to the sideline to commit to go out of bounds?
I think it was a mistake on his end.
I think it was a mistake too. I think because that was a touchdown. That pass to commit, that's a touchdown. So I'm gonna put that on the mistake side for Caleb. It's not a bad one because they still stopped the clock. And it was such a good mistake to the point it looked like he was trying to go back shoulder, but I really don't think he was trying to go back shoulder.
I think he just messed up.
Yeah, I think he just messed up as well. Yeah. But luckily, he was so by himself that he was able to go out of bounds and still stop the clock and everything like that. But just seeing shit like that, just to have a quarterback to even see that. You know how many times we've seen our tight end or receiver get open because of a blown coverage and our quarterback don't even see it?
Yeah. And it's just someone waving their hands wide open left on an island. I mean,
yes. So the fact that we're seeing this shit is just like, this is how I know on the right path. We're on the right path. They're figuring shit out because you can still look bad against the Panthers.
Yeah. That's certainly true. When you mentioned us being on the right path, it just brought me back to what we were just talking about with Eberflus and, whether he's the guy long term or what. One thing I've noticed is whenever there is a video on Twitter, social media, wherever, and they're talking about, or it's Matt Eberflus talking to the locker room after a win, and he's giving his speech, whatever, game ball to somebody. If you look in the background, Ryan Poles is standing there with his hands on his waist, like he is evaluating, like, is this guy really amping everybody up? I think he's truly evaluating whether this is going to be the guy. Because I'm sorry, when I see coaches talking to the locker room, I'm not seeing the GM standing there in the corner staring him down like a hawk. I mean,
no, Poles is in evaluating mode because I think he knows he got it right with Caleb. I think he knows that. I think everybody in Chicago, if you're being honest with yourself, if you're in an organization, I think everyone believes that Caleb is the right one. Poles got it right. But the biggest thing is the captain of the ship. Did you get that shit right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want us to be losing. You don't want to get to the point we miss the playoffs because you be like, Flus did this in this game. We could have won this game. We've been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You don't want shit like that because that shit start happening. He's not going to make it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's even the thing too. When you look at, I'll compare us to our counterpart, the Detroit Lions. You look at Dan Campbell, and on the surface, he looks like a great head coach. He is a player's coach. He amps everybody up. He gets the team going. But if we're being honest with ourselves, Ben Johnson is the reason that offense is as successful as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Being honest with ourselves, Dan Campbell has created an aggressive identity with that team, and it did bite them in the playoffs last year. And I know Lion fans and, a good amount of NFL fans are like, okay, but that was their identity. They had to live and die by that. I think at the end of the day, though, if you're a smart coach, you don't need to have an identity that gets you somewhere. You are balanced. You are a regulated head coach. The Matt LaFleurs, the Kevin O'Connells. I mean, as much as we're talking about the Vikings and their QB woes, even if Sam Darnold plays average the rest of the year, I'm convinced Kevin O'Connell can find some playoff success for the first time in a while because of how good this team is, because of how well they are coached. I can't say that necessarily Dan Campbell's the reason for that or Matt Eberflus is the reason for that. So Shane Waldron's going to have to step up and grow for this team to go anywhere because I think he is the real reason that our team's either going to go somewhere or it's not. I don't think Eberflus is going to have as much of an impact, which I think that's also going to be a reason why he is going to stick around longer than we may like him to. Just because it's so easy nowadays to blame the coordinator. If you're not the one calling plays.
Yeah, very easy. No, seriously, it really is. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes, especially how the rest of the season goes. If they fuck around, make the playoffs, it's going to be so. And then don't make the playoffs and you fuck around and win a game in the playoffs. It's going to be so hard to fire him. Like, you might as well not even talk about it. If they make the playoffs and they win at least one game, he's coming back. Get prepared. You know what I'm saying? Unless they win a game in the playoffs not because of him, and then he loses a game, he fuck around and be fired. But outside of that, I think he's gonna be back. But it's gonna be. I'm not even gonna worry about that. I'm just so excited. I'm on cloud 9 with Caleb. Like, I really am. Like, he is a guy. He is a quarterback. Like, listen, I'm not looking for MVP. That's gonna be cool, but I'm looking for Super Bowls, and he's a quarterback who can make all the throws for you to win a Super Bowl. Why does the Niners didn't beat the Chiefs the first time? Because why? Garoppolo couldn't make that pass. Yes, the defense did give up plays, but that's Mahomes. If your quarterback make the passes he's supposed to make, they win. Why has Brady didn't beat the damn Giants? Because Eli made the passes when he needed to make the passes. Say what you want to say about Eli, he made the passes he was supposed to make in the biggest time. That's why he has 2. So, like, I think Caleb can get us there.
Absolutely. One thing that I pulled up here too, week 5, best pass ratings when facing the blitz. Caleb was number 2 in the entire league during week 5. Granted, I know it's the Panthers, and we'll talk about that, but he was 3 points shy of Joe Burrow. And then you also had, impressively, and I was going to segue into my next thing here. Number 9, you had Jaden Daniels at 112 passer rating. Jaden Daniels is a very fascinating quarterback because he has come in and just kind of taken the league by storm, it feels like. And a few things that I want to say, because number 1, it feels like there has to be this fucking animosity between whether, Caleb's the guy, or, Jaden's the guy.
Yes.
Why can't both be good? I don't understand that narrative. It feels like Twitter has to constantly have one guy be better than the other. It's massive competition. They can both be really good prospects. They were drafted number 1 and 2 for a reason. That's my first point. Second point, when we're going to talk about, because it's been Caleb's faced the Rams who are hurt. He's faced the Panthers who is Jaden Daniels beat that is just wowing you? I'm really going to go take a look here.
Bengals, Cardinals, and Browns. And who else they beat? Bengals. Now I'm with you on that. I'm definitely with you on that.
You beat the Browns this last week. You beat the Cardinals. You beat the Bengals. You beat the Giants. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? Why is he getting all this praise while Caleb got his ass whooped by the Texans and still kept it within 1 score?
They could have won.
They could have won that game. Granted, the Texans they've been underachieving, in my opinion. They're the flukiest.
They are
4-1 team, 3-1 or 3-2, whatever they are. They have not looked good. They have a lot to work on. But I mean, Jaden Daniels, I love him. I think he's going to be a stud. I'm excited for that game against the Commanders this year. But people need to pump the brakes. And even then, too, with Jaden Daniels, his criticizers, you've got people saying, he plays a college offense. Why is that a bad thing if you're scoring? I don't understand that. If you're making it work with the personnel you have.
I get what they're saying. I think a lot of times people try to throw college offense into the point where you're doing a bunch of shotgun and you're doing a bunch of half-field reads. So I get what they're trying to say, but you're trying to make your quarterback comfortable. At some point, he will have to do a whole field of reads, not just a half field. But listen, the coordinator calls the game how he sees fit. Will he have to change it when he go against the Ravens defense, who's been playing bad, or when they play us on the 27th? We are an elite defense, so it ain't gonna be able to just be no half field reads there. So I get why people are saying it, but then it's at the same time like when people are saying it, they're not really giving you any substance. They're probably just saying it because they heard it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I didn't even really put it together between college and pro offense. The only thing that stood out to me, and I sent a couple of his spray charts to a friend, and I'm like, have you noticed that he only throws to the right side of the field and he might have one or two completions on the left?
Yes.
But
he does all right side reads a lot of times.
So, I mean, I am curious how they're going to adjust when a team will adjust. And let's face it, they're facing the Ravens, and then in 2 weeks, they're facing the Bears. You've got the Steelers later in the season. You've got the Saints defense you got to worry about, Falcons defense. I mean, they don't exactly have teams that they can just do that over and over again.
I mean, the Eagles are reeling right now, but they play the Eagles twice. You play the Cowboys twice. So it's not like you're in like this. And for some reason, the Giants are looking like a competent team. They're still, they're winning games. So it's still like you still have an easy schedule. And I'm with you, though. Like, people just, did the Bears make the wrong pick? Let me tell you something. If the Bears in April would have picked Jaden Daniels and not Caleb, people would have talked about us.
Yeah. It would have been another, I wouldn't say it would be another Mitch situation, but it's certainly, there's a reason why they went with Caleb regardless, because
like, what are we talking about?
The first pick would have taken Caleb, truly.
What are we talking about? What are we talking? You know what's crazy? We've been having this conversation since week 3. It's week 5 of both their first season.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what are we talking about? Like, it doesn't make any sense how they just put them against each other both times, and then seeing how people were saying shit like bringing up Fields. And listen, this morning, Steelers fans already asking for Russ to be the quarterback, or they're fuming about the offense. Listen. Trying to blame the play calling. Listen, y'all wasn't saying this shit when they were 3-0.
Oh yeah.
We know how this works. We said to y'all, like, he's not a bad quarterback, but you have a ceiling. Yes, the receivers didn't do the best or this and that, but you still have a ceiling with him.
That game last night, and I stood up till midnight watching that game, that dreadful first half of a game, that looked like a Bears game. That looked like a traditional Bears game. Really sound defense. Offensive line's looking below average. The run game's not able to be established. And then you've got Justin Fields, who can't really work with a whole lot because his best receiver is getting draped. Guys are dropping balls. That looked just like the Bears the last 2 years.
It did. Like, I don't have no sympathy because I try to tell everybody this. Like, it was nothing against Justin, but who we have is the quarterback. This is a quarterback. I don't give a fuck about how much you can run. I want you to be able to run to keep the play, to extend the play. I want you to scramble to run. I don't want you to just be running just to be running. You know what I'm saying? If you have to, you have to. And you make the play when you had to make the plays, in the past when you have to. So it's like, that's the difference. And Justin is still doing stuff that we saw him doing here. He's improved. I'm not going to take that away from him. He has improved in certain areas. But what are we talking about? Like, I want Caleb over him, and I want Caleb over Jaden Daniels. I want Caleb over Bo Nix, over Drake May. Everybody you try to compare him to, I want Caleb.
And I'm going to be petty for a second. We're talking, Jaden Daniels just came off a Heisman year. Well, so did Caleb 2 years ago. But guess what? Caleb's best receiver was Jordan Addison. Meanwhile, Jaden Daniels has Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas. Both of them look like studs. I'm sorry. Jordan Addison, he's nice, but he's also got Jettas right next to him every game. So, I mean, what are we talking about? Like, just, I don't know. But I am conflicting myself. I could go on a whole different tangent with that, but both of them should be good. That is my bottom line. I need people to stop with the comps.
No, dead ass. No, seriously. We can let's start doing that 3-4 years. You know what I'm saying? 3-4 years, see how this shit go.
I saw a tweet that made me really happy. I apologize for cutting in.
No, go ahead.
There was a tweet saying that Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels is the redemption arc for Andrew Luck and RG3. And I don't know why, that just made me happy. I know it's such a stupid thing, but it was just, I like seeing the positive side of these players. If you're going to be like comping them or doing whatever, it's like, yeah, I hope they both don't have the same career arc. I hope they both stay healthy for a long time. You know,
play style. I get what they're saying. Definitely play style and how they were definitely reminds me of that. So we have 45 minutes before we get up out of here, man. How you feel about next against the Jaguars? I guess it's a home. I didn't realize we were a home team against the Jaguars in London. But how you feel about this game?
The biggest thing that sticks out to me is Jaquan Brisker. We didn't even cover him. That boy is
sacrificed. Oh shit! Yeah, let's go back to him.
He sacrificed CTE for that fumble, man.
Oh my god, yo, listen. Jaquan Brisker plays real ball. That's the football I grew up on. That was a clean hit, ladies and gentlemen. That shit was clean, and it's few people who can come who are safeties, and when they come down, you know it's about to be a train wreck. You know it's about to be a collision. And when he comes down, he's coming to lay the wood. Him and Kyler Gordon. It's just ridiculous, but
they bring the heat.
They do. And the fact that he's in the Brisker right before we got on about an hour ago, Jaquan Brisker is in concussion protocol. For who don't know, he is not traveling with the Bears to London as of today. He can still get cleared and travel out there. I will hope he cleared, but honestly, he ain't playing this week. I don't think he is.
I don't think he's going to play either.
Yeah, even if he get cleared, the fact that he's not going, he didn't go out today lets me know. And it's a trip to London too. Like they wanted that whole week. We don't want that messing with your head and shit like that. So I feel like we can get it done in London without him. But I mean, how you feel about him though? Like, do you think he need to tone it down, or that's just how he is?
I just DM'd it to you on Twitter. If you want to pull it up for the podcast, the big hit that he got.
I'll see if I can pull it. Go ahead. I don't know if he can even. I don't know if he can tone it down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
he's just he plays with a different level of physicality that I think Chicago really appreciates in general. I feel like he's another one that every year we've had him, we've seen him get only better and better in his craft. Kyler Gordon's had a little bit slower of a development.
Yes.
But ultimately, man, Jaquan Brisker, I love the guy. I don't know how you can hate him. I'd like him to not make his career shorter, you know? I'd like him to maybe, I don't know about toning it down, but just maybe be a little smarter with how you approach it. Because
I just looked at it.
Play for more than 3 years.
We'll put this clip like on TikTok or something, so I can't pull it up now. But I just looked at it, and he definitely looked like he was concussed.
Yeah,
I watched this on that whole play. He was definitely concussed there. So the fact that he wasn't taken out after that is that's football. The thing about did you before we go back to the Bears versus the Jags? Did you see like when Josh Allen got hurt? When Josh Allen at the end of the game got thrown in his head, that was a concussion.
And they brought him back in.
You saw the smelling salt. The man brought him smelling salt. Trubisky came in for one play, then they brought Josh Allen back in. Yeah. He's not even in concussion protocol. Come on, man.
And some people are saying too that Jaquan Brisker might be the hardest hitting safety in the NFL right now.
Absolutely, bro.
I think part of that too is that a lot of guys are, I'm going to quote Antonio Pierce here, making business decisions. And so
but not hitting.
You know, a Derrick Henry chugging down the field, like, I'm not about to tackle him.
So. No, that ass. No, seriously. And he's just a different type. He got that, he like from that era of the Cam Chancellors of the world. That's where he's from. Just laying the wood. So, but yeah, man, we're not going to have Brisker this week, but I feel like we can make it. This defense is so good to the point where I think for 1 week, You got the 1 week, and then you got the bye, so you can get healthy. So that's why you shouldn't even rush him back.
Don't even, yeah.
Get it done. The Jaguars are not that good to me at all. They beat the Colts, who I think is not a good team, and the Colts put a lot of points up on them.
Yeah.
I think our defense is going to keep us in this, and I think we got better offensive playmakers than them. I think we're going to be just fine.
Let me ask you, if we're going to be playing that game of sitting out Jaquan Brisker for this week plus the bye week, do you think Keenan Allen with the heel flare-ups should be a considerable sit out for this upcoming game?
I think it just definitely depends on how his ankle feels after flying. That's the good thing about flying today.
Yeah. Big fan of that move.
Yes. Going out there on a Thursday or Friday, I've never been a big fan. I think the Jets and the Vikings did that Thursday. But you go out there today, I know sometimes the pressure, if you got an injury, but I think the fact that you are going out today, he can still play on Sunday, especially since they got a bye. So hopefully, I don't want him to sit because, I know you got everybody else. If he has to sit, I'm okay with it because everybody else. Again, I still think we can make it do without both of them. With the bye week being the next week, but like I said, I think the Bears are going to take care of business out there.
Absolutely. I fully expect them to make Trevor Lawrence's life hell this upcoming week.
Yes.
Even if it's happening on the other side of the ball too, and Caleb's getting blitzed a lot, because like you said, that D-line's no joke. That's going to be a real test for this O-line before the bye week, because whatever you mess up this week, they're going to be studying film for the next 2 weeks, and you got to be ready, because after the bye, what is it looking like for us here?
Yeah.
I know we got a couple more games that feel like they should be.
Yeah, after the bye, we got
3 games that should be winnable. We got Commanders, we got Cardinals, but Cardinals, man, their defense is played above average too. And not
no, they definitely have.
Then you got the Patriots, but then November 17th, we have the Packers. First division game of the year. Naturally, they're going to be our first division game and last division game of the year.
Like always, feels like now.
Yeah,
it definitely feel like we get them at the end of the year every year. But I do feel you go win this game, you 4-2 at the bye. Like you said, you got Commanders, Cardinals, Patriots. Even if you go 2-1 in there, you're still 6-3.
Yeah,
and you got Packers, Vikings, Lions, then Niners, and that next 4,
followed by the Vikings, Lions, Seahawks are underwhelming, but then you've got the Packers again. That second half schedule, that's why it is so vital. These games feel like must-win games. If you have any inkling of playoff hopes, you need to be winning these games.
You have to.
There's a realistic chance where we go 1-5 against our division this year. It could happen. I certainly believe that it could happen.
Let me ask you this. Are the Vikings for real, or are they just,
I think they're going to fizzle out the last third of the season. If we do beat them, I think we'll beat them on the road, actually. But then again, I don't know, man, because they're going to have Hawkinson back. And, but they did look a lot different. I will say this, against the Jets, without...
The Jets should have won the game. The Jets should have won that game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Aaron threw 3 picks. What are we talking about?
Yeah, the Jets, they had a pick 6. That's even... They still was able to win the game at the end. So it's like, I think the Vikings are a good team. They're playing better than I realize they're going to play. But I still don't trust.
There's something about them. Do you think we split with the Lions?
I said before the year we were going to split with the Lions and sweep the Vikings. I still think we're going to sweep the Vikings.
You think we're going to sweep the Vikings? I would love. If we do that, we're making the playoffs. I hope you know.
I believe so.
We're making the playoffs if we do that.
Yeah, we're definitely making the playoffs if we sweep them. But yeah, man, I think the Bears are going to handle that shit. I don't know about no score, because them London games are so weird. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. But I think we're going to score close to 30 again.
I think so too. That the Jacksonville secondary really does not impress me whatsoever.
At all. No, they don't.
I think they might be a candidate to get Travis Hunter. this upcoming year.
Oh, yes, for sure.
I think he would change a lot for that team. But then again, they also need a lot of O-line too, and this is going to be a good O-line class coming up.
It is a good O-line class.
I did see that Alex mentioned there was an offensive lineman from Mizzou that Ryan Poles has been eyeing a lot lately. So we'll see. I don't know. He's supposed to be a stud, and I'm like, but there's so many guys you can say that with coming out of the SEC. So
many guys. There's so many guys that get so much. They get looks because they're in the SEC, and then when you draft them, they be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
So it doesn't always work that way, but I'm gonna look now. I'm definitely gonna look at at this Mizzou tackle. Is it a tackle or a guard?
I think he's I think he's an interior lineman.
Okay, I definitely gotta look.
Yeah. Real quick before we kind of wrap things up, this is kind of a meme narrative that Bears Twitter's coming up with, and I think it's so utterly ridiculous. But there's people in their agendas. They love pushing agendas.
Yes.
There is an Andrew Billings is greater than Jalen Carter agenda coming out right now.
Billings or Javon Dexter?
I've seen Billings lately.
What the fuck? I don't know about that.
He was picked 100+ picks after him, I believe, or something crazy like that.
Now, if you go with Javon Dexter, wasn't Javon Dexter a second-round pick?
He was a second-round pick.
Now, if you want to go with that agenda, I can get it because he's been a monster.
Yeah.
He's been a monster, but that's so funny. I love
Billings over Carter.
Yeah, that's crazy as fuck. I don't know about that, bro. That's insane. Yes. But you know how it is on Twitter. The agendas on Twitter is just crazy. Like, people just make up anything, and then people just go with shit. That's why the internet is dangerous.
Yep.
That's the internet is dangerous because some people don't fact check people.
No.
People just be saying shit. You look at it be 1 million views. You be like, what the fuck? 1 million people believe this shit now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really bad. But man, this was fun. I'm glad we got to do this week because we missed last week, and I'm glad we came back on another victory.
Absolutely,
another victory Monday. We need another victory. Real quick, do you know the Bears have the longest home winning streak in the NFL right now at 8 games?
That's crazy. I didn't know it was 8 games, but I knew it went well into last year. I thought we were like 5 or 6, but 8 games is crazy.
After yesterday was 8 game winning streak at home for the Bears. We lead. That's crazy. The longest current streak right now. What? It was a time where I felt like the Green Bay Packers never lost at home, and the New England Patriots. It felt like they never ever lost at home. I think the Packers had the record for the longest home winning streak. I'm gonna have to fact check and look at that. But I know a lot of people don't know the Bears got the longest winning streak right now. I mean, shocking. I know because of what the fuck we been.
Yeah.
But people forget the end of last season, we were fun. Like, we were winning games.
Yeah, that defense looked like they were a top 10 defense for a while there, and we were just kind of figuring some things out. I mean, I'm excited for when we have these types of home streaks in our new stadium years from now.
My God.
Caleb, 5 Super Bowls down the line, and
Super Bowls down the line. At that point, we're gonna be like Patriots and Chief fans. We're just so used to it.
Yeah, dude, man, I wish I can get to that level of blissful, carefree football down the line. I just
before we leave the early 2000s for people who lived in Boston from 2000 to about 2010, you saw the Patriots, the Bruins, the Boston Celtics, and the Red Sox win, or go to multiple Super Bowls or multiple World Series or finals. It was just that shit is unheard of, and I need that here. I want that for us.
The major sports cities, I feel like LA teams have had it with Rams, Dodgers. They've had it with the Lakers. They've had multiple teams be successful at once, and I just feel like we really haven't seen that with Chicago sports teams. Boston's been able to do it. I believe Florida's been able to do it. With hockey and football with the Buccaneers and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, I feel like Chicago sports, because you had the Bears in the 80s, you had the Bulls in the 90s, you had the Cubs in 2016, the Blackhawks in the 2010s, I guess. But it doesn't feel like any of them have kind of overlapped.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like, we're not doing it time. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're going from this to this or that to that. It's like, I'm with you on that. It's like we always have, each team has its own era of winning. Like, I want all this shit at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
I think the Bears and the Cubs in a year or two could kind of be in that same window. If who knows, man? We could go into a whole other podcast of baseball.
We definitely could. But this was fun, man. We'll be back at the same time next week. You can see the pod on YouTube. You can see the pod at you see it at the bottom. You can find us on Twitter, YouTube, on TikTok. The podcast is on Apple, is on Spotify. It will be live every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Share, tell a friend to go check us out. Who likes football? Who just like the Bears? Till next week. I'm Jay. That's David. Peace.